Welcome back to day 14 of 100 Days to Mastering Wedding Photography. And today we're going to be talking about the histogram. Now, shout out to Pi Jerser because it was one of his videos that made me even start caring about my histogram. Now, your histogram lets you see your camera's exposure in real time and gives you a geographical representation of the overall exposure of your image. It's broken down into 5 sections. You have your whites, highlights, midtones, shadows, and your blacks. Now, if this graph is shifted too far to the right, then your image is likely overexposed. And if it shifts too far to the left, then it's typically underexposed. Also, if there's areas on your histogram where the line goes completely through the top, this means your image is clipped and you're losing detail there as well. That loss of information could mean that once you start to try to recover it, then all of the detail in that area will start to turn gray as opposed to its correct exposure. Now, the rule of thumb is that all of the information on the graph should be spread out evenly across your histogram, with nothing touching the sides or touching the top. That way, your final file has all of the detail necessary for you to get the most out of your image during the editing process. My advice is to always expose for the highlights or the brightest part of your image. Now, that might leave your image looking a little bit underexposed, but as long as your shadows and your blacks aren't clipped, you'll be able to pull out those details and create a fantastic image. Now, one thing to point out is that your histogram is just a starting point. When it comes down to things like creative shots, your histogram might not reflect what we deem as being perfect exposure. So just get a clear understanding of how the histogram works, so it'll be easy for you to figure out how to break the rules in your favor.